This photo is going to haunt Donald Trump and the Republicans in 2026. It's a food bank in small town Kentucky in a deep red district. And the person who uploaded this photo said they've never seen the line so long. They said, "I've always went here when things were bad. This year our family could not afford anything nice for Christmas dinner, so we turned to a local church food bank. I've never seen the line so long. This is 4 times the size of every previous year. We've only been to this one 4 times since 2017, but this year the line wraps around the building a second time to the left behind those rows of cars. Everyone is freezing, and an older lady in the line had to be taken inside because she looked like she was about to pass out from being too cold and shivering." If this is a sign that America isn't doing well, I don't know what is. I'm in a small town in Kentucky with a population of less than 4,800 people. Literally 10% or more of the county is here. This is insane. Notice how you only see these long lines at food banks when Donald Trump is president. This has been an ongoing thing during his second term. Trump and his economic policies and, of course, his tariffs have made everything more expensive and completely unaffordable. And you're seeing this all over the country. Of course, there will still be people who vote for Republicans, but these folks standing in line, I bet many of them don't.
Hello, my good people, and welcome back to my channel. So rural America is going hungry. Hundreds of people are lining up at food banks, are freezing in cold weather, are waiting hours just to take home a bag of food. And most of them, they're seniors. And these are the red states that voted overwhelmingly for the orange man, hoping for relief, They believe that he would make life easier for them. They were promised cheaper groceries, better healthcare, more jobs. Instead, what we're seeing now, groceries are more expensive. Healthcare feels even more out of reach for many. And families are choosing between food and rent. So let's get to see the reactions. Then you come back with more commentary. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing so you never miss any update from my videos. Let's dive into it.
Now, who doesn't know this saying? Eat your food, eat everything on your plate, because there are people, children in Africa starving. You all know that, right? Well, we need to stop saying that. And we need to stop showing ads of all those people in Africa. They need to change the ad. People in America are starving. People in America are starving. People in America are starving. So let's see the ads from Save the Children and everybody else that asks for money. People in America are starving. Let's stop using Africa as a place where we need to send money, as opposed to the people in America are starving while Trump and his billionaires lavish themselves. Okay?
We're still struggling even when we have our money coming through. We had to suffer going almost a week with no food.
The economy's down the tubes. Healthcare is awful. Prescriptions are terrible. Groceries are off the charts. And I think the only way we're going to do better is if he gets out and somebody else gets in.
It's pathetic that I can't even cook my children a meal tonight because I can't afford it. I went to the grocery and one pack of hamburger was $17. Just enough to make like 4 patties. What in the hell is going on? So I'm going to McDonald's and getting a $5 meal. It's cheaper. Bread, $5 a loaf at my local store. It's a small chain. I'm sure that's why it's more expensive, but it really sucks that you can't even cook your kids a home-cooked meal in your new house. It really does, and it's not fair, really. And I kind of get it. I kind of get why people are angry about the food stamp thing. We work really hard and we can't eat, and it's not fair. I don't ever want children to go hungry, but adults need help. Not me. I'm talking about elderly adults. They can't get out and go to McDonald's. They can't get to the store. They can't afford food. It's incredibly sad.
I want to know how we're all doing it right now. How are we all surviving? Because things are just so fucking expensive that honestly, I'm thinking about canceling Christmas. That's how expensive things are. And it's just getting honestly really ridiculous how we're just taking this under the chin. We're just accepting it. How? I went to the bank a while back and I was getting money out of the ATM, and the lady behind me told me that she can't even afford to buy meat right now, that she's been eating pasta and just pantry items because that's how expensive things are. She also told me that she can't even afford it with 2 jobs. She had to pick up another job because she could barely afford anything to live, to pay rent. Like, where are we living? Like, how much does it take? How much is it going to take for us to just be like, collectively, we've had enough? We've had enough. You know, they already steal money. They tax us up our fucking asses. And it's still not enough. It's mind-blowing.
I don't know what makes me cry worse, our economy or this onion. The American people are being priced out of existence. I'm sorry, but there are not enough people talking about this. There are people who cannot pay their bills. There are families having to choose to feed their children over themselves because they can't afford to do both. And then there are other people trying to decide between paying for groceries or paying for a roof over their head. Where does the change happen? Because as a mom of 3 kids, family of 5, like, we're paying so much to just like live. Gas to get anywhere, to and from work, school, groceries are astronomical. A mortgage and interest rates are out of the roof. Check in the comments. How are you doing? How are families doing? How are like single people doing? Is there a difference between like families how we're doing or like single people how we're doing? Frankly, I feel like everyone's struggling.
We got breaking news. It was just announced that the average family of 4 is spending over $1,000 per month on groceries. But that's not even the craziest part, because there's something that's going to make food prices go up even higher. What you have to understand is tariffs and inflation are increasing prices of food, but there are also massive labor shortages and weather issues across the globe, causing prices to go up 5 to 6% every few months. That's why meat, eggs, and other consumer staples are becoming so expensive and borderline unaffordable. Now, inflation is stabilizing for other parts of the economy. Housing and electronics are both seeing under a 2.5% growth in inflation this year, but groceries are expected to inflate 3% for the next 2 years. In fact, analysts are expecting food prices to go up 4 to 7% in 2026 alone, and it's because of these 2 reasons. 1, more tariffs. The president said that he might pass more tariffs on different countries, which would cause more expensive grocery prices. The second is the deportations. As much as we like to admit it or not, it's going to cause labor prices to go up, and we're already feeling it in our economy. Because of all this, it's become more popular to shop in bulk, like Costco and Sam's Club. But let me know in the comment section, are you feeling this spike of groceries?
A whole lot of y'all need to shut up because Donald Trump said so. I know that when he was running for president, he said he would fix everything day one, but today's a new day, and Paw says you got to give him more time. Now remember, before the election, Trump told you day one, I'm going to bring down all the prices and make your life instantly better again. Fast forward, we're almost a year in, and groceries take a kidney. Rent is doing parkour, and all of a sudden Trump says affordability is a Democratic hoax. Did he run on affordability? So, didn't he say he was the affordability president? So was he basically saying he's a scam president? See, remember when Trump was running for office, when he was campaigning, everything was urgent. But now that he's in office and he's making money off of your tax dollars, the only sense of urgency he has is to get paid. But he got money for ballrooms. Hell, he out here trying to get Rush Hour 4 made, and you just trying to figure out how you gonna keep your lights on. And I don't want to hear anybody else say MAGA got scammed. No, they didn't. Trump told them exactly what he would do. They just didn't think he'd do it to them. Well, he did. And I don't care that it's happening to him. But I do care that it's happening to the rest of us. So I'm just wondering, when is Paw going to wake up from his long nap and do something about these price of groceries like he promised.
Hey, what's up, America? The people of the United States are having trouble making ends meet. And even Republicans on a press conference today say that now we have to worry about affordability. But what does the average American say about the struggle of living in America now? Well, let's find out, because someone just asked thousands of Americans about this subject. So according to a new poll by Politico, first of all, younger voters in lower income households have been hit the hardest since Joe Biden was president. But as of right now, 58% of Americans say the cost of living is their top concern now in America, surpassing immigration. 62% of Americans are reporting that their household finances are worse off than a year ago. 45% of adults that were surveyed says they cannot afford an unexpected $1,000 expense. Overall, 71% of respondents say they're concerned about the high cost of groceries. 82% of Democrats, 72% of independents, and 59% of Republicans express worry. 55% that were polled say their local economy is either fair or poor, with 38% of people saying they view the national economy positively. 67% of people under 45 claim that they're financially strained. 48% of people over 45 say the same. 49% of people making under 50 grand a year say that they've cut back on essentials like food or medicine because of cost. And 76% of Democrats and Republicans combined agree that the federal government should do more to address housing affordability, including subsidies and rent control. So that's across the spectrum of Democrats, Republicans, and independents, showing that regardless of your political leanings, it's more difficult now than it was. And basically nothing has gotten better, or very slightly, since even Joe Biden was president. So affordability is not a hoax in America. It is the order of the day, and we need to fucking get on this shit.
A major Tyson beef plant, which employs 1/3 of a small rural town in Nebraska, is closing because of Donald Trump's policies. 3,200 people in the city of 11,000 are about to lose their jobs. Tyson is also planning to cut 1 of 2 shifts at a plant in Texas, taking away 1,700 more jobs. This will reduce beef processing capacity nationwide by 7 to 9%, causing a dramatic ripple effect. Prices may not increase instantly because all of the cattle preparing for slaughter will still be processed at a different plant, but in the long run, beef prices may continue to climb even higher than the current record highs. Losing a major buyer of cattle and increasing imports from Brazil, which already accounted for 24% of the beef brought into this country, only adds doubts to how profitable the U.S. cattle business might be over the next several years, meaning it's a lot less likely for American ranchers to commit to raising more animals. These America First policies really don't seem to be putting Americans first. The fact American ranchers don't want to invest more into cattle right now is going to keep supply low and costs high. This situation really shows how tariffs land directly on working families, rural towns, and grocery bills across the entire country.
What you're seeing now isn't just a hunger, it is a broken hope. And these aren't people who expected luxury, These are people who expected to live in dignity. They expected to be able to work and pay their bills and put food on the table without straining at the most basic promise of any society. But instead, what you are seeing now is seniors who work their entire lives only to be standing in the cold weather, waiting for donated food, and our parents who are skipping meals so their children can eat and barely not even be able to afford to feed their kids. Families are stretching one grocery trip across an entire month, and many people are now asking, how did it get this bad, They were told that tariffs were going to protect the American workers, but instead, our prices went up, They were told that the mass deportations would help the economy, but what you are seeing now, farms, factories, local businesses are facing labor shortages, and pushing costs even more higher. They were told that healthcare would become affordable, but medical bills are still crushing families. One hospital trip can make your entire paycheck to be gone just like that. We are seeing more families coming out to say that they can no longer afford groceries. This isn't just politics now. This is survival. It is no longer about whether you are Republican or whether you are Democrat, because cold weather doesn't ask who you voted for, you know? And what's even more disturbing is that somehow we have normalized this suffering. We have normalized seeing food bank lines longer than ever, and we have normalized seeing children are growing up with food insecurity, and the government isn't doing anything about it in the richest country on earth. We have also normalized telling people to just work harder, you know? But the reality is that people are working more harder, but what they are earning is not even enough to cover their entire bills, you know? People are living paycheck to paycheck. People have lost confidence in DJT, you know? They are saying things will be better once he gets out of office. And that shows are people who feel abandoned, you know, by the system that no longer sees them. They feel betrayed because this is not what they were promised. And let's be honest, rural America has been ignored for decades, you know. Politicians come and promise many things, you know, lower groceries, lower the cost of living, build hospitals, give you jobs. But once they are elected into office, everything vanishes. And that's why people feel more betrayed. No parent should have to choose between paying rent and feeding their kids. And no senior should have to stand in freezing temperatures, hoping there is enough food left when it's their turn, you know? People have really lost hope in the government, and when people lose hope, they stop believing that anything would ever change. But most rural states in America, they normally vote against their own interest, you know? They vote for policies that they even know that they are going to hurt them just because of racism. And see now what we're seeing. More people are now suffering in the red states. And thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.